and welcome to our latest session in Media Valet's Dam Week. I'm Stephen Midgley, Chief Marketing Officer at Media Valet, and I'm really looking forward to this next session with John Horodyski, focusing on how you can win executive buy-in for digital asset management within your organization. And in this session, you're going to learn how to tailor your messaging to make a compelling case for DAM, as well as based on ROI metrics and aligning with company-wide business goals. Now, John is well known in the global DAM community. In addition to being the managing director of strategic client growth at AVP, he's also an adjunct professor at San Jose State University's School of Information, and as well a board member for the Journal of Digital Media Management. So John is he gets around. He's well known. He's got lots of great insight on the industry. So John, really looking forward to this session that we're going to have in the next 25 minutes or so.
Thank you so much. And in Vancouver today, as are you.
And in Vancouver today.
Isn't that amazing? It's virtual, but I'm in Vancouver. It's raining.
That's all. The rain. Excellent.
It was sunny yesterday. Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world today. What are we going to talk about today? Well, we are going to talk about building the business case for DAM. Spoiler alert, I've kind of built these slides so you can reuse these. So you're going to get a copy of the slides. Ask Stephen, ask Ian, ask Crystal, ask somebody within Media Valet, but you will get a copy of these slides. But I've built them in such a way that you can reuse them, share them with your organization, etc. So what is DAM? What is the business case? Some DAM foundations. Defining the problem. You need a problem if you're looking for an answer. Cost and ROI. We always need to talk about costs. And then closing up with building the business case. At the end of the session, as well as in between, if you do have a question, please let Stephen, myself know. Would love to be interrupted to answer questions, because without questions, what do we have? I don't think we need to redo me. That is me. It's still me. Different Jack, but that is me doing all my stuff, all those good things. All right, let's get going here. Disclaimer. I love a disclaimer. I actually wrote this presentation, not a robot, not AI. Funny disclaimer. I just want to make you all aware. I did this, a human being, a Canadian, 52, I did this, not AI. Just want to make sure. All right. What is DAM? I always love a good definition to start off. And I do like having a definition here because it sort of reminds us of what we're all trying to do. Now, what is DAM? I've been using this for over 20 years. It is both the management tasks as well as the functionality surrounding everything from ingestion, annotation, cataloging, storage, retrieval, all those good things with all those assets. But it is, in fact, so much more. And what I would love to educate and inspire all of you today is to think of DAM just a little bit more. Think bigger. What is it trying to do? Is it aligning with your business goals? What are you trying to do? Now, where does DAM sit? I truly do believe that DAM sits in the middle. All of us are using multiple things in the MarTech, marketing technology ecosystem. DAM's in the middle, but look at all those amazing things on the outside. Social media, CRM, CMS, e-com, advertising. 20, 25 years ago, all these things really weren't there per se. It was sort of around the place in a little different structure. But here in 2025, we have to make sure all these things are integrated and connected to each other. But DAM, digital asset management, right in the middle. It's going to feed these things. A lot of these feeds into it as well. But just when you're thinking about your business case and trying to think strategically in your organization where things could go, think of DAM in the middle. It's right there. All right, so let's start thinking about the business case. And as we go through the slides today, I want to talk about the who's, the what's, the when's, the where's, and the why's of all your digital assets. You want to start thinking about these things because we want to support our strategic initiatives. This could be anything from reducing costs to even the flip side, possibly generating new revenue opportunities. You want to improve your brand perception and competitiveness. But again, the bigger picture, think of the goals and objectives of your organization. You, in your roles in your organization, are looking at different things. You might be within the marketing sphere. You might be in creative services. You might be in digital. What are the greater goals of the organization? Yes, in terms of a business case, you want to talk about improved opportunities for collaboration, not SharePoint. This is DAM. This is the bigger play here. You want to think the long term, which we'll get to in a future slide. You want to think about better brand management. And obviously, for many of us, we are thinking about the maintenance of compliance and regulations. We live in a world of regulations and compliance and good governance. We want to make sure we're following through on those things. So my theme to you today is, what is your damn story? You need to start thinking of your story that you are going to tell your team. All right, let's just run through some of the down foundations. Each one of these will help you start thinking about how you can tell that story. And are you prepared in each one of these 7 things to tell that story and build your case? Now, I've been doing this for over 25 years. Digital assets have been proliferation. It is just, they're growing, they're changing. Look at the stuff we have now, CAD drawings, 3D models. You need to know what you have, how much it is, where it is, and why you have it. Maybe you don't even need these things. And when people talk about us, when they speak to us and say, well, what do you mean? Well, look at all this stuff: images, videos, audio, design files, I mean, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's about 100 things here. And I'm sure each one of you have more to add to this. Again, 25 years ago, it probably wasn't as extensive as this, but here we are in 2025 talking about these things. So yes, how much do you have? Where is it? And how are you going to manage some of this stuff? Some of these assets are a little bit more confusing than the others. So again, do you know your digital assets? Number 2, metadata and taxonomy. I love this topic. And in fact, love it so much. If you do not know your metadata before you go with your DAM, that's a risk. Get your metadata done first and then start thinking about your digital asset management system. As I say, without metadata, you have nothing. So again, think of the descriptive, the administrative, and the structural depiction of what your assets could be. How do you define it? How do you describe it? How are you able to use it? That includes things like rights management and archival possibilities. And you want to organize the content in such a way that people can find it. So again, as a tip of the hat, as a nod of the word of the day, metadata. Without it, you have nothing. Think of how you are going to apply that now, and then start the rest of your work. All right, workflow. Who loves workflow? I sure do. And hopefully all of you do as well. Because as you saw by the MarTech slide, it's a little bit more confusing than it was before. There's a lot of integration points. So you want to make sure you understand your assets. You want to make sure you understand the issues involved with everything from the identification, the capturing, the ingestion, and the collaboration opportunities. My question to you all is, do you have a solid workflow in place? Is it documented? Is it work in progress? Is it final assets? Or maybe it's both. And if that is something that you're thinking about, you need to be very respectful of those 2 sort of different parts of the life cycle. And then as that slide showed with MarTech, integration opportunities. Do you know the workflows going in? And do you know the workflows going out? And do you know the opportunities of the metadata, each part of the process? So that's number 3. Number 4, rights management. This could be an entire webinar in itself. This is very important. The 3 things I want to reflect upon you all is, how well do you know your rights? And I can tell you, doing this for over 25 years, a lot of people don't know necessarily what they can, but more importantly, what they can't do with their assets. Metadata can help you. You can put the information there. You have to start thinking about things like licenses. Are they in date? Are they out of date? Do you know the differences between, if you're a global organization, the differences between the regions? Do you know what you can and cannot do? Do you know the permissions and the roles and the security? Something very important to digital asset management. Can I see things, but maybe Stephen can't see something else? Maybe Ian can configure some stuff, but maybe John can't. I don't know. You need to think about those things before you get going with your business case. And then lastly, compliance. We have GDPR. We have state level privacy laws. We have accessibility issues. And yes, artificial intelligence, which has sort of tricked us all up in terms of what we can and cannot do with our content. So again, do you know your rights? Make sure you have that before you go. Digital preservation. Again, is this a WIP DAM, a work in progress, or is it an archival DAM? Is it both? Do you know what you're spending on out of our market assets that might be on servers? Do you have strategies for hot, warm, and cold storage opportunities for your content? And you have to ask yourself, when you do your content audit or analysis, are some of these assets worth preserving or not? I don't know. Good questions to ask. 2 more to go, UX and UI. What is the user experience and interaction that you want with your DAM? How people upload and ingest assets, how people tag, how people search. It has been shown that over time, a good UX and UI will drive system adoption higher. That is, if the experience is good, People want to use it. They have a seamless integration with other systems, and the adoption goes up. Where a bad UX and UI come into play, adoption goes down. So let's make sure we have good UX and UI going forward. And lastly, another topic of mine that I love, governance. Governance is not an option anymore. You need to do it. It's the only way to manage and to mitigate your risk for your digital asset management. Change is constant. Change always goes. Can you manage the change? Remember, DAM is a program, not a project. A project has a beginning and an end. DAM keeps on going. So again, I hope many of you are doing governance right now. If you're not, why not? And hopefully when you come back to the office on Monday, you can start talking about governance with your team. All right. So again, those foundations, think about those as you begin to tell your story as you go forward with a business case. Now, the DAM problem, what are your problems? Because it's never just singular, it's always plural. So here are some examples that I put here. And again, you're going to get these slides. Now, these are things that I've been hearing many years over. These are things that are just always constant. We're producing X amount of files by itself. We are having things stored in other places, Dropbox, Box, Google Drives. Yikes, that's not safe. We have access issues. People are not able to always find things. Assets are leaked. Hopefully not for any of you that are attending the call today, but sometimes these things happen. You have litigation, you have productivity issues. These challenges are important as you are able to define them, because then you can put that into your business case to say to your executive team, we have issues, we need a DAM to not have these things happen again. So again, when we were speaking with people, we were saying, well, what are you seeing as in terms of some of those common problems? Look what we're seeing here. Can't find stuff. Misuse of assets, brand inconsistency, people going out to the web, right-clicking. Don't do that. Not a good way to manage your assets. Unknown asset rights. So again, these are the common problems, and you'll get these slides. But then you ask yourself, okay, if those are the problems, what do I want on the other side? Centralized assets in one system. Very common expression we hear in DAM is the central, the source of truth. What a great opportunity to put all your assets into one place. Better ability to have discovery and retrieval, better opportunity to collaborate because everything is into one place. You can track your assets. You're able to have better user experiences because people are using one thing. So you get these slides. If these are consistent with what you're thinking, well done. Add more to the list because you probably have more interesting experiences of some of the challenges that you are facing. All right, next slide. The people and the cost. Now, this is interesting. DAM is wonderful. We love DAM, but you got to think of the people, the process, and the technology. The tech is the DAM. The process is your workflow and your governance, but what about the people? So what I'm putting on here is an investment summary and a stakeholder slide. This is just a reference point for you, but what I'm trying to get across here is the cost around this. You have the system itself. You might have license fees. You might have partners. You have the salary cost behind these things. These are just examples, but I just wanted to let you know that you need to think about the costs and the people as you go forward. And also take the time to list your stakeholders. Who's the leadership on the business side, the IT side, the internal teams, the product manager, the project directors. You want to isolate and identify these things so you can share with leadership how big of a scope this really is. And I can tell you after doing this for 25 years, the scope is bigger than we think because DAM is so much integral to the part of the system. So think of the people and the costs as you go forward as well. Now, the last thing I want to sort of mention here is more on the impact. Now, each of you will have a different story to tell in terms of the impact, but these are 3 examples of where you can tell a story by saying, hey, we centralized our assets, we put everything together, we were able to reduce security breaches by 30%. That may be a situation, I don't know, but what a great story to tell on the impact. The second one there in the middle, by attaching rights and usage metadata to assets, we reduced legal spend by 20%. That's a great thing to show to your organization to say, hey, this is the value, this is the good impact that we can have with digital asset management. And the last one there, by building a user-friendly navigational interface, there's that UX UI story again. We were able to reduce the staff spend from 4 hours to 20 minutes with a 400% increase in accurate results. Now that's an example. It actually came from a client of ours, but that's something that you can start considering for yourselves. These are 3 examples. I would love for you to be inspired by these and then think of your own impacts that you can have for your system. They're there for you. Current state versus future state. This is very common. We always hear about these things, but make sure you identify what your current is, but more importantly, where you want to go. So you want to identify the change. You want to be able to map and analyze and define that change as you go from one side to the other. It's very easy to define your current. It's the future where it takes a little bit more time. With the dam, with a new dam, I'm able to do this with my assets, this with my workflow, this with my preservation, this with my rights, et cetera, et cetera. An exercise that sometimes always falls through the cracks, but this is something that is very important for you all to start considering. So again, what is your dam story? Now, those were some great opportunities for challenges. Hopefully, some of those were like, oh, that's us. I see that in our organization. I see that happening. That's great. But keep on adding to your story. All right. I want to spend a little bit of time specifically on costs and ROI, ROI being return on investment. Now, we don't want to be this little happy penguin just throwing money into the fire. Never a good situation. It happens. We've all been there for sure, but we don't want to do this. We don't want to throw our money away. We want to make sure we're doing really good things. So there's three things I want to refer to you in terms of costs. The first one being the cost of inaction. So this is saying, if we don't do anything, hey, executive team, if we don't do a thing, here's our costs. As you can see, they generally go up. Hey, here's some examples here on the left-hand side. Hey, we've spent $1 million on legal fees. That's probably going to go up. Content licensing, we're wasting our money. Those might go up. And productivity, it's just going to get worse and worse because people can't find things. So if we don't do anything and we are inactive, here's the problems we might see down the road. Now, obviously the reverse of that, here are the costs of action, the opportunity costs. If we get this down, thank you very much. Here are 6 things that you can think about. Now, I put some examples in here, but I built this slide so you can start thinking for yourselves. Risk mitigation, speed to market, productivity, tracking, measurement, and distribution. If we get that down, look what we are able to get. This is important to include when you're thinking of telling your business case story to your executives or your senior leadership. And the last one is return on investment. Hey, I'm going to spend X amount of money. What do I get from it, right? This is Janet Jackson's "What Have You Done For Me Lately" slide. And we always want to make sure we're telling people, what did I get out of this? So again, you want to show this in, we recommend looking at something from like 1 to 5 years. You can maybe do 1 to 3, but just show, if we get this, here's what's going to happen of this over time. And by doing so, you're taking the serious level to say to your organization, we understand the people, the process, the technology, but we understand the costs behind these types of things. Worthwhile exercise, takes a little bit of time, but it behooves you to do this to tell a better story to your organization. All right. So again, do you have that NAM story, and are you telling it well? So building the case for NAM. I want to take some time here on this one. This is a proposal, not a plan. This is very different. You are trying to sell a vision to your executive team, your senior leadership. So you have to propose this. You're writing it out. I've given you the foundations to consider. I've given you the ideas to think of, what your challenges, what your opportunities are, but you need to propose this. You are selling something to your team on how to get it. You want to make sure that you have all the opportunities to gather input. You want to define the need. You want to determine the outcomes of what you're trying to get out of this. Now, I always like to say, ruthlessly prioritize. You're going to get a whole lot of information from different sources in your organization. You want to prioritize them, because when your team, your senior leadership, your executive team comes back to you, they're going to say, what's the most important thing? Make sure you're prioritizing that list so they really see the need, the business case need to get the dam. Is this going to be done once? Not necessarily. You want to build this. You want to refine it and repeat till you get to the place where you say, this is a solid vision. This is something we can visually share with. This is something we can document. And this is something we can speak to with our leaders in our organization. So build, refine, and repeat. And be realistic about this. The last point here is, a lot of people sometimes, what's that expression, boiling the ocean? Sometimes people go way too big, way too fast. So be realistic about what you're trying to do and the scope you are trying to do for your dam. Do you know who the users are? Do you know what those use cases are? Spoiler alert, those use cases can be great when you are ready to start talking to vendors and how you can actually get the system you want. Do you know your assets, your metadata? Make sure the scope is containable. Nothing is worse than going to your leadership saying, I want the world. Sometimes the world might not be available. Sometimes you just go a little bit smaller. So make sure you know your scope. Be realistic about it, because when it becomes successful, spoiler alert, it will be successful. Then you can start asking for more things down the road. So make sure you're being realistic with your scope. Now, I get asked this question all the time, but John, it's 2025. These are weird times. They are weird times. We are living in a very strange time. It's not austerity per se, but certainly these are times where the T word, I'm not going to say it, Stephen. I don't know if people have used the T word today, but it rhymes with tariff. Anyway, I said it in my bad. But yeah, the tariffs are there. It's happening. Everything's a little, kludgy right now. And people are like, well, what do I do? Do I not spend? Do I spend? DAM is the long game. So play the long game. This is an investment. If you want to play the short game, go use SharePoint. By the way, not a DAM. But seriously, if you want to play the long game, invest. And what do people do in times where there are some challenges? I'm not going to say the R word. I won't say that word because I don't believe it's actually going to happen, because I'm a positive fella. And I do believe that consumer confidence, by the way, this week, consumer confidence is the first time in 5 months it has raised. So I do believe things are going to get a little bit better. So when the going gets tough, you get investing, and DAM is the opportunity to invest. Maybe some of the marketing spend has been, trimmed back a little bit because of, the T word or other things that are happening right now, but play that long game. This is a great time to look inside the organization and say, this is actually a good time to invest into us. Play that long game out, because that's what Dan's going to give you. Now, everyone loves a list, or not. I'm not totally sure, but here are the top 15 things that I really do hope you, and again, you get these slides. This will help you build your business case. Again, why do you know why you need a DAM? I have seen so many people get the wrong DAM or just buy the wrong tech. So make sure, why do you need the DAM? Oh my golly, who is the DAM for? Is it for sales? Is it for creative services? Is it for the marketing team? I don't know. Make sure that you do know who it's for. Do you know where your assets are? I can't tell you. Where sometimes many a client where it's all over the place. Not even just petabytes, but just like this is all over the place and people can't find it. Where are your assets? Do you know how and when you want to even do the DAM? Is this a 26 thing? Do you know your budget cycles? Do you even know when is the right time to approach your leadership and ask for money and ask for these things? Spoiler alert, don't ask at the wrong time. Ask at the right time. That's very simple. Do you know your problems? Do you have a DAM champion? Do you have someone in the organization who not only supports you, but then supports you with money, who agrees, who understands your vision, will actually sign checks for you? If you don't have a DAM champion, let's talk afterwards, because we should all have a DAM champion somewhere. Do you know your current and future state? Do you know the metadata you need? And if you don't know the metadata you need, spend the time, invest that time to get your metadata in order before you start asking for a lot of other stuff. Do you know your workflow? Do you know your integrations? Again, long time ago, DAM sort of sat by itself, but here in 25, we have all these awesome pieces of technology around us. Just make sure that if you are going to go ask for a DAM, are there connection points? Are there really solid integrations that you can make together? Again, do you know your rights management? Oh, golly. I love this topic, because as we go forward in a world of global issues, compliance, privacy, AI, make sure you do know your rights of what you can, and more importantly, what you can't do. And all that good stuff goes right into your metadata. Do you know the UX UI experience you want? I've sort of hinted at a few other slides. Make sure you take the time to know what you want, how people go in and go out and share and collaborate with your assets. Do you have governance and change management ready to go? Again, if you're not doing governance, I do hope that you are able to take some time after the rest of DAM week here with Media Valet and go, all right, we should probably do this. Do it Monday. If not, if you want some help, give me a call. But yes, start doing governance now. And again, do you know your costs for inaction, action, and ROI? If you don't do anything, here's what it's going to be. If we do something with DAM, here's what it could be. And once we have the DAM, here's the value we're going to get. And here's our ROI for doing so. And then ultimately, do you have a business case? There you go. 5 minutes to spare. Not bad, Stephen. I think I did well in terms of getting it in for some question time. So
Well, that was a lot of really good content in 25 minutes. So
should I stop sharing? Should I stop sharing so we see each other,
we
or
can leave the screen on. I think there's a
leave the
lot of
screen
good
on? Okay.
content. Leave it on. I think that's a lot of good content though. And just listening to your presentation, John, the one thing that I really liked was DAM is a program, not a project. And that programs keep evolving. And, it's really interesting because often we think in terms of project, start date, end date. But we think about the pace of evolution and how quickly technology is changing. Specifically, AI is an example.
Right.
And we've had a couple of good sessions. We've got one coming up later today with Jackie Robinson Foundation. We had one yesterday with
Awesome.
Fred Rogers, how they're leveraging AI to improve efficiencies. And so as the technology keeps changing, it really, damn, really is a journey. So that was really insightful. We have a couple of questions from the audience. I've got one question for you before we get to those. We've got a few minutes. You talk about the importance of metadata. In your
Yeah.
experience of 25 years, how many organizations, when they decide to do a dam, have actually got the metadata organized? Is
That
that a
that is a
stumbling block?
great question. The majority of the answer is not always.
Okay.
It's more of the, I always refer to it as how clean is the kitchen. We always have those drawers in the kitchen. You open up the drawer and it's like, yikes, what is that? It's those things you use for the corn of the cobs. It's like random knives. It's sort of a little bit messy sometimes. The majority of people are not always ready. So when people do approach us and say, hey, we're interested, we might need some help, the first thing we say to them is, go clean up the kitchen, start looking at your content and start figuring out your metadata. Because most times these are coming from servers, they're coming from SharePoints, Dropboxes, where it's just a file, maybe a good file name, Stephen, maybe not, but not a lot of metadata behind it. So the first thing we always say is go look at your content, your assets, put some metadata behind these things first. So yeah, unfortunately, most people are not as metadata
Yeah.
proficient, but that's normal, that's fair.
Okay, so a couple of questions here. One is, I always make this joke to colleagues and friends. I wanted to be an accountant, so I got into marketing because I spend so much time in spreadsheets and justifying. And I think you don't want to use the T word or the R word, but when and I think everyone in the audience who in marketing will have felt this pain in their careers, when things get a bit tight, there is scrutiny on spend, and so I do think DAM is an enterprise solution, not a marketing solution. But
Right.
any tips that you would give to the person who owns the DAM, how they should pitch it, present it to the CMO, the CFO, the CTO? They're all coming from different angles.
Yeah. So in the slides that I was going through, definitely in terms of building that business case, you want to use examples from all those the 7 foundations. You want to look at those and start seeing how do those apply to me. But it comes down to those, what are my challenges and what do I want to be? And it's those opportunity costs. That is something to share. And yes, we do live in a strange time right now with the T word, not the R word, but the T is definitely happening.
Yeah.
You want to sort of show that value. As you say, it's an enterprise solution. And what businesses and IT is always saying, and during these types of times, you invest in yourself. The marketing spend might be trimmed a little bit, but invest in yourselves. And that's where digital asset management can really be an opportunity for an organization. So for those people who are saying, yeah, but my CMO is strapped for cash as well, we're all, again, these are sort of interesting times. Show them the challenges you have, the problems you're facing. If we don't act, look what's going to happen to us. No one wants to see those things. And then show them here, if we do get a dam, here are the opportunity costs. Here's how so much better it will be in the future. And during these times of, challenges, that will be a good story to tell. Invest inside. Again, you're playing the long game. It's an enterprise solution, as you said, Stephen. Play that long game. Dam is the long game.
Agreed. Yeah. And we've got a question here about 2025 technology organizational changes. I think we kind of addressed that with the words we're not talking about, but
Yes.
I guess we've got a minute to go. You've known this industry so well. We've had some conversations in the past. What is the thing that makes you most excited about digital asset management going forward?
Having done this for over 25 years, I have seen the value of DAM rise in the last few years, specifically with AI. Because of AI being there in different forms, it could be AI agents, agentic AI, it's called. It could be the chat GPTs, whatever. It is sort of the biggest change we've seen in a long time. You know, the printing press, we've had these huge cataclysmic changes in our society. AI is changing things, but DAM is a part of that. And as the amount of assets, the voluminous amount of assets change and grow, you really truly need DAM. And what I've seen more in the last few years is that DAM become of a significance within the organization. From the CMOs to the CTOs to the CEOs, they're seeing the value of that one place to have all your content to manage in all that it different could be. It could be marketing, creative services, other. So I'm excited to be working in DAM at a time that it's becoming more and more important with senior leadership. That's exciting. It's very exciting.
It is. It is. It's a lot of change, and I think I always think marketing organizations are the heartbeat of organizations are the heartbeat of a company. So I think it's definitely great stuff. So, hey, John, this was awesome. There's so much great content in 25, 30 minutes. I know our audience will really appreciate getting the slides. But John, once again, thanks for your time. Thanks for making Dan Week that much better. And look forward to our next chat. For those on the call, we have two more sessions for Dan Week today. We've got one with Blueprint X, talking about how to build a connected end-to-end content ecosystem. Some really good information there. And then at 12:15 Pacific, 3:15 Eastern, I'll be joining Latanya Johnson, who is the Executive VP and COO of the Jackie Robinson Foundation. And she'll be talking about how they're leveraging DAM to amplify and build one of America's great iconic stories in Jackie Robinson. So I hope to see you on both of those sessions. John, thanks again. It's great stuff.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.